Hey guys, I'm going to do a little video about adding a vacuum port. Now that I have an automatic transmission, I don't have enough vacuum ports. You're going to have your fuel pressure regulator nipple. You got your PCV. Normally your PCV hole is here on this dormant intake. It's up here in the front and then runs down, you know, however you want to route it. But over here on the passenger side, you got one port that I was planning on putting that to the hose that runs my blender doors and all that. Pretty sure you're not supposed to tee off your vacuum source to your vacuum modulator on your transmission. So then I looked at just adding one here. I was like, man, I really don't want to just put it on that one runner. That's where the map sensor goes on this intake. Instead of being up here, like the factory truck intake, it moves it down here. My truck map sensor has nothing to do with this, it doesn't jive with trying to use that fastener. So basically what I've come up with is you just take this little map sensor, put it in the hole, and I'm gonna clock it all the way up against this deal. Have that washer hold it where it can't come out under boost, vibration, insert issue here. Here you can see where I've marked where I'm gonna put a vacuum port to run to my vacuum modulator on my transmission. All right, guys, pull my map sensor out of there. All right, do a little pilot hole, and I have piloted this and measured it to make sure that it's not going to interfere with anything up inside of the runner or the insert or anything like that. All right, we got our pilot hole. Let's go up one side. Yes, this is a very dull drill bit, and I'm not holding the intake because I'm trying not to block the light. Hold on a second here. Alright, so we got a good pilot hole. The final hole before you run your tap is supposed to be a 7/16. So what I want to do is take this unibit and run it in until I get close to the 7/16. Then I'm going to take a look at it and see if I need to pull out the real drill and see if we need to finish the hole off with a real bit, so no, we don't go too far. There, I'm just, this intake isn't on an engine, so you've got a lot of leeway as far as, drilling out these holes. That's about where we want to be, I think. Trying to look at my markings on my Harbor Freight drill bit. I think we're one step away from 7/16. Here's the thing, I don't want to go too far because I've kind of got just a fitting I had in my toolbox. It has the barb on it, the 1/4 threads, or whatever, I'll read the tap in a minute. And then I added an O-ring. I'm going to put a little bit of probably ultra gray on the threads and just snug it up into the plastic, and then once that cures, that'll never leak vacuum or probably have any chance of leaking on boost. I just want to make sure I got plenty of plastic left to cut the threads into so I don't run into any issues of not having enough thread to make this thing work properly. Okay, so now let me just get a little test start here on this tap. Basically, because I don't have a tap handle that'll fit this big fat tap, I use, hold on, let me show you. It is a spline drive socket that can do square. Works perfect. Okay guys, I went ahead and used the step bit and went out exactly to the 7/16 step. And now I'm just starting You got to put a little bit of pressure on your tap, because even though this is plastic, it's pretty strong. Now, don't go to the end of the tap, because if you know, MPT gets bigger from the tip where it starts out to the end of these thread cutter flutes is larger and larger. So what you want to do is sneak up on your final size. That way you can get a nice solid tight fit to whatever you're tapping. That's still really tight. We're gonna cut some more thread. The forward go button. If you guys can see that. Where I was when I started this part, I'm just gonna go about halfway to the end. I want to get some more threads because I want a good, nice thread contact with a snug fit all the way to where I can kind of squish that O-ring. That's it right there, guys. And when I snug it up for the final time, I'm not going to go hog wild crazy because, hello, that's plastic. I'm just going to put some sealer on my threads and let the sealer cure, because that if you use ultra gray, when that stuff cures, it literally turns into plastic. Alright guys and gals, there is a small portion of my viewing audience that are girls, ladies. So basically what I want to do is just take a little bit of this ultra gray, not a lot, just kind of smear it on these threads like that, just enough to fill in the threads, because what I'm hoping it'll do is kind of push out a little bit on the inside and the outside and just permanently seal this hole snugged up, and we'll let that cure. Alright guys, because I don't trust myself even with a wrench to not over tighten that and strip that stupid plastic, because it's only got like 2.5 to 3 threads, I got my thumb drive with a 1/4 inch 9/16 socket on there, because I truly just want to snug this down just enough to put some pressure on that O-ring and not strip out that plastic. There it is, guys. Vacuum port. Then I'll get a little rag and kind of clean up that little excess ultra gray. But trust me, once that stuff sets up, it should be a good leak-free vacuum source for whatever it is you need to run. I'm going to shoot that down to the modulator on that Turbo 400. Next step, I'm going to go ahead and start assembling this intake. So the first thing we need to do is slip our map sensor into our intake. It's kind of a weird intake. I've had to move certain things around. I've had to bend my the little steam vent tubing that goes to the front of the engine. I had to move it out of the way. Now there again, I don't trust myself not to over tighten up on this plastic. So what I want to do is just run this in, and then I will hit it with a little 1/4 inch ratchet to make sure I'm not, see there, I need to add another little piece of, it won't come out. It's not holding it as tight as I wanted it to, but at least it's not trying to fall out. Yeah, that's tight. You wouldn't want to go any tighter than that. But that will hold that in there. I don't know. I'm assuming on those newer model trucks that had these long runner intakes, I'm assuming they must have had a different style map sensor that slipped over this stud and then it bolted on. I might switch to one of those later if the plug-in's the same, but I'm trying to keep my wiring harness and everything, you know, easy to put back together. And I thought, well, this would be an easy way to at least secure it where it can't come out. And I'm gonna run it. So anyway, let's finish assembling this multi-piece intake. All right, to get ready to reassemble your intake, I basically just set the top portion of the intake over to the side. Here's your runner floors. Okay, that's your middle removable section. Inside this base is your O-ring seal. Now here's where the gray area comes in. A lot of people are afraid to use these multi-piece intakes, long runner Dorman truck intakes, LS1, multiple piece, LS6, I believe. People are really concerned with this O-ring seal failing under boost. When I talked to some engineers online, I was asking, when I very first purchased this intake, hey, I heard this thing can't run boost. Why would it not run boost? And they were basically confused because they were saying this O-ring seal can handle 25 plus pounds of vacuum. Why would it fail at less pressure? Like they were saying, whether you're pushing in or whether you're pushing out or sucking in, it's still, you know, under a stress or sealing environment. So they would be surprised if this O-ring seal failed under 25 pounds of boost. You know what I mean? So are the people, here's the question I put to you, are the people that are having or feeling like they're having a boost leak because of this intake, is it because they're exceeding 25 pounds of boost? Or is this, you know, a poor seal, not up to the engineering that it was intended to be? Also, there are a group of people permanently seal this. Instead of relying on this O-ring seal and screws to seal this together, they buy, I don't know if it's an RTV, an ultra gray, specific plastic weld. I'm not sure what they're using, but they'll literally permanently glue this intake together where it can't leak. So if you have this intake and you want to use it and run 20, 25 plus pounds of boost, I think that it can be done, but you have to seal it permanently according to the internet. Now, I've been burned by the internet. I'm sure you've been burned by the internet. So, you know, 2 Torx screws is all that holds this to this bottom base because there's no sealing gaskets. Okay? These don't seal to the base. So nobody get freaked out when they start putting their intake back together, or if you ever have to work on one of these and the intake doesn't have gaskets on the inside. Don't let that deter you, because this is not intended to do anything other than be just a floor deflector guidance of airflow. We take the lid, flip it upside down, which is the top, then we just take our module, which is our assembled runners, runner floors, all that junk. You just get it all lined up. It's all going together properly. We're not hurting anything. All right, there it is, guys. You got 6 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What those 6 screws do is hold these major top and bottom sections together. Then when you put it on the vehicle, you have 10 long bolts that are going to also pinch these halves together. So let me finish throwing this thing together. We're going to throw it on the truck.